and to decide if it was trouble. Charlie had been to Cheyenne in March, when Bill had married the famous circus performer Agnes Lake. And even getting married, Bill had been in a brighter mood than he was now. "Did you know they held elections last week?" he said, when he saw who it was. Charlie said, "Where?" "Right here, Cheyenne." Bill was a good American, but he never liked elections. It was like the railroads, an unrefutable sign that things were going to hell. The new city officers have published a list of 50 men they charged with vagrancy. He said, put it up all over town, issued warrants for the arrests. Charlie waited. Bill pulled a piece of paper out of his sash and unfolded it on the bar. Charlie bent over and looked. The boy stood still, watching everything they did. The list was alphabetical, and most of the names on it Charlie recognized for thieves or killers of one sort or another. The 27th name was James Butler Wild Bill Hickcock. "Well," Charlie said, "it's the price of fame." "Look down there at the bottom," Bill said. Charlie's finger went to the bottom of the list and started up. The 5th name he touched was his own, only they'd misspelled it. Charles Colorado Charlie Utter. Charlie hated it when they spelled him like that. "What kind of slander is this?" he said. "I am a respectable businessman from Empire, Colorado." Bill picked the paper up off the bar, folded it, and put it back in his sash. "Nobody from the police department has been by to arrest me," he said. "I gave them a few days to make up their mind if they were going to." That night at the hotel bar, Bill laid down the rules of his wagon train. He would take only 70 wagons to Deadwood. Nobody who was sick, no firebugs, no whores. 70 wagons was enough to be safe from any party of Indians, but more than that, then you couldn't be safe from yourself. Bill didn't want any bad apples. The trip would take 2 weeks, and each man, woman, and child had to carry a firearm and pay him $50. None of this discouraged the assembly at the Republican bar, which applauded him. The Black Hills was the wildest and the richest place on earth, and no man into his cups would admit things were wild enough for him right there in the hotel. Wagons on the way to the hills had already come through from California, where the gold had begun to peter out, and pilgrims were headed there from the other direction too. Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Iowa. For 3 years, the grasshoppers in the states had come in over the crops like black clouds, and when they left, they'd taken it all with them. Bill had seen that with his own eyes in Iowa after he'd taken Agnes Lake home to St. Louis to wait for him until he got back on his feet. It wasn't the way Bill would have put it to Agnes Lake, but some time had passed since he'd had a pot to piss in. Charlie couldn't see him telling her about that at all. There was a respect between Bill and Agnes that did not invite inspection of the parties. Bill and Charlie and Malcolm and the mules waited 4 days, until Bill was satisfied nobody was coming to arrest them, and then he set a time to leave. Daybreak, June 27. By 9 o'clock, Bill saw none of the boys from the Republican were going to show up. What had shown up was a Jew that wanted to set up a hardware store, and 2 peddlers. 4 wagons, if you counted Bill and Charlie's. Bill collected $50 from each of them, and they started east, Charlie driving the wagon, Bill sitting on his horse, a handsome old gelding he'd named Peerless, drinking cocktails. The boy rode one of the mules. Anyone but Bill would have rethought it right there. He had it in his head there was something waiting for him in the hills, though. Charlie couldn't get him to say exactly what. He thought Bill might not know either. They met another wagon train at Fort Laramie, 5 days out of Cheyenne.